Hello and welcome to our lunchtime live stream. And today we're going to meet the molecule man and the orca lady and hear about foraging food and wandering stars. And we start with the molecules where the great annual Science Festival hunt is underway. It's run each year by Sandy and Lorna Smith with great cooperation from the Kirkwall shops and from the Kirkwall BID. Sandy, welcome. And first of all, tell us, how do you choose the molecules?
Thank you, Howie. What we do is we're building models of all the molecules, and the molecules are selected to suit the type of shop that they're displayed in. We try and get something which is associated with the nature of the business.
And I'm just admiring them, acetone and alizarin, two lovely names and lovely pictures of the molecules. Where do people find the molecules, Sandy?
Well, that's just two examples. There's actually 20 in total, and they'll find them in the various shops within Kirkwall. The next slide will show you a list of the businesses, although the print might be a bit small to make out. There's also a map of Kirkwall showing you where all the various businesses are located. We've had great support from all the businesses year on year. For 10 years now we've been doing this.
There's a
next slide, please.
You get a great response for those. And you've got more images here, I think, to show us too, Sandy.
Next slide, please. These are actually the prizes we're offering this year. For the first prize, we'll have a draw from all the correct entries, and you'll win your own molecule building kit, so you can make your own molecules. We're also offering this year a prize for the first 50 entries that we get in. And it's a periodic table pen. You can actually open the pen and pull out a list of the periodic table. Next slide. This shows you the people who are actually helping me, both within Kirkwall and outside. The BID obviously has got quite a major role because they're hosting all the details of the competition. Molly Mod, who are providing the prize, Make It Molecular, who provided me the kit to build the molecules, and of course, yourself and the Science Festival, who've given me great support in being able to produce this again this year. Even though we can't actually be there in person, we can at least have a virtual presence.
And how do people start, Sandy? How do they get underway?
Well, all the instructions are on the BID website under the festival pages. And what they do is they look at each of the company's Facebook pages. And there are links to all the Facebook pages on the BID website. So all you need to do is click on there, hunt through their pages to find the molecules. Now, although there in theory should be 20, there are two which have been unable to actually join in. So Cycle Orkney don't have a Facebook page, and Visit Scotland, the Tourist Information Centre, hasn't reopened, so they haven't been able to take a photograph. But each of the other businesses has a photograph of their molecule taken in their appropriate surroundings. So all they need to do is match that against the full set of pictures which are on the BID website and identify against each molecule which business name is associated with it. There's the entry form is on the BID website as well. And next slide. That shows you where they send the details into. That is available on the BID website. It's also a link available on the Orkney Science Festival Facebook pages. So I think that's probably about as much as I can offer at this point. Thank you, Howie, for the opportunity.
Well, thank you, Sandy, for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing all those molecule hunters in action through the festival period. On then to orcas. Dr Saana Isojunno is a research fellow at the Sea Mammal Research Unit at the University of St Andrews. She's investigating killer whale predation of seals in Scotland, and your sighting data can help. Saana, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about what the project's about?
Thank you, Howie. Thank you for having me. So we are investigating the predator-prey interaction between killer whales, or the orcas, and harbour seals around Scotland. We are interested in this because the population of killer whales that visit Scotland is quite small and thought to be vulnerable. But the harbour seals, their prey, are also showing regional declines on the north and east coast. So we want to find out how many harbour seals killer whales need to eat to stay healthy, and secondly, how predation risk might then influence the harbour seals.
How do you use orca sightings?
So killer whale sightings are really valuable data sources to us, and we analyze them in combination with other sources of data, including tagged seal movements, counts of seals at their hole-out sites, and sound recordings. So we analyze the tagged seal movements and hole-out counts before, during, and after killer whale sightings to understand whether seals modify their behavior in relation to predation risk. For example, maybe they are spending more time resting on land where they are safe instead of spending time foraging at sea. Or maybe they are avoiding particularly risky areas. And for this analysis, we are also using harbour porpoise sightings as a kind of a control data set in this analysis. So it's hugely valuable to have any sightings of whether it's killer whales or harbour porpoise for this project submitted through us or our collaborators such as the Seawatch Foundation.
So sightings are helping. What can you find out with the sound recording?
So both killer whales and harbour seals produce vocalizations. And so we can understand more about what they are doing and what the rates are, because the vocalization rates depend on really what they are doing. So on the second slide, or on the next slide, we have a really great example in Scapa Flow where we collected sound recordings in Orkney in July, August 2019. And here, having a sighting next to our sound recording data can help us understand what proportion of time we are really picking up the killer whales. So in this case, we had killer whale detections at the very first day of the deployment and coinciding sightings arriving from Hoxha Sound to Scapa Flow and going back and forth a few times at different distances from the recorder. So not only are we saying, okay, we are detecting them, we are not detecting them, but at different distances from the recorder, so we can understand the range of our detections.
How can people find out more about this and get more involved?
Well, you can head out to our website, but before I say that, I just wanted to flick to the next slide. I'm sorry. Yeah, so here were just a few recordings I wanted to show to you. So if you flick through the animation, there within these boxes, you can see those dark lines, which are the killer whale calls, and outside it, there's a lot of other stuff going on as well. And this is the background noise coming from waves or boats, and this is how killer whale detection can be actually quite challenging and an interesting question. And this is again where the sightings can help to tune these detectors. But yes, if we go back to the project website, which is on this last slide, the project is called Energetic Consequences of Orca Predation on Seals, or EcoPred for short. And you can find the blog and our collaborators' information about the team and how to take part in there. You can also find us on Twitter.
This is a fascinating project, San. I think a lot of people are going to be keen to find out how they can help and get more information. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Howie.
Chef Sam Britten's commitment to foraged foods is renowned, and he's brought us in recent years the wonders of a Neolithic evening menu and developed a highly acclaimed range of Orkney vinegars. He's now made for us a video of a recipe for everyone to try. Welcome, Sam, and what's in it?
Thanks, Howie. Yes, I was trying to forage autumnal flavours given the season to create a dish from lobster as well. So the foraged ingredients I used were lovage, which is kind of like really intense celery flavour, and rose hips to make a ketchup. And it's a Orkney version of a ketchup, because the inspiration was actually from Heinz tomato ketchup, which involves tomatoes and celery as the ingredients. And yeah, I've been working on this for ever since I've been here, about 6 years. And it's a really great combination of flavours, and to go with the lobster tail, which has had quite a few processes involved. So it was blanched, and it was brined, and then roasted in butter, and then you use the pan juices to make a lovely little lobster salad with the ketchup and a few foraged leaves as well. So it's just celebrating the season at the moment.
And just a brief follow-up question, Sam. Can foraged food give your cooking a flavour that might be difficult to get in any other way?
Well, I just think you're cooking your surroundings, and you get to pick the ultimate time and freshness, and it doesn't cost you anything apart from a bit of labour. I'm just interested in the flavour of it, and it's just great to get out amongst nature and pick these ingredients. And there's kind of a sort of narrow season in Orkney, because not everything grows here, but it kind of it gives me more attention to detail to what does. And I've been, as I say, I've been working with the Orkney Natural Larder for about 7 years now, and it's great. I love it.
Thanks, Sam. The link to Sam's video can be found on our website programme entry. And now Eric Walker's back with a look at the Orkney night sky for absolute beginners, and this time it's the Wanderers.
Good afternoon, Howie. It's good to be back. Today's session for absolute beginners can mostly be done with just the naked eye, although binoculars will help you see some of the subtleties I'm going to talk about today. I'm presenting each day as if I'm viewing from North Ronaldsay at about 10 p.m. But this will work for anyone in the Northern Hemisphere. Things will be higher in the sky if you're further south, and they'll appear earlier or later depending on whether you're east or west of us. If we go to the next slide, we're very fortunate at the moment that we can observe 4 planets. They're all visible to the naked eye in a single night: Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, and Venus. This table shows some very basic information about the planets and compares it to our Earth. Venus is nearer the Sun than us, but it's almost identical in size. Mars is further from the Sun than us and considerably smaller. Jupiter and Saturn are way, way away from us and absolutely massive gas giant planets. If we go to the next slide, this far north, we need to start looking for these 2 planets early, about 10 p.m, as they're low in the sky and they'll set first. They are very, very easy to find. If you look due south, there are 2 extremely bright objects fairly close together. They are the planets Jupiter on the right and Saturn to the left and slightly higher. They don't twinkle like stars, even though their light is coming through a lot of Earth's atmosphere, being so low down near the horizon. Next slide. If you have a pair of binoculars, point them at Jupiter. You'll see up to 4 small white dots nearly in a line either side of the planet. These are the Galilean moons Ganymede, Io, Europa, and Callisto. They orbit Jupiter fairly rapidly, and you can actually observe them changing position over the course of only a few hours, and certainly between days. Next slide. Point your binoculars at Saturn, and you'll need steady hands or some form of support like a wall or a fence post, and you'll see that Saturn is not a round disk but a more oval shape. This is because the shape is being distorted by the rings of dust and small moons orbiting the planet. It's highly unlikely you'll be able to make out any structure in the rings with just binoculars, but do have a go. If we go to the next slide, if you move round to face due east, you'll see something pretty stunning. Apart from the waning moon, which will actually be left of Mars tonight, you'll see a very bright red coloured object, and this is the planet Mars. Next slide. Mars is almost at its closest point it ever gets to Earth, and it's directly opposite the sun, which is why it's so bright. Point your binoculars at it, and you'll clearly see it's not quite a full disc shape. It's a bit gibbous, and that's because it has what's called a retrograde orbit pattern relative to us. I'm not going to even attempt to explain that here. And of course, it's distinctly red, hence its other name, the red planet. If we go into the next slide, you'll need to wait a couple of hours to start seeing this at its best, but it is really worth doing that. From about 2 in the morning throughout the rest of the night and into the early dawn sky, look to the east and you'll see the most spectacular bright sight, the planet Venus. It rises in the morning, and you may have actually heard it called the morning star, and of course, it's not a star at all. And if we go to the next and last slide, have a look at it with binoculars, and you'll see it appears like a very bright, tiny, slightly bigger than half moon. You can actually see Venus during the day if you know exactly where to look, but a word of caution, be very careful, as it's only too easy to catch a view of the sun, and that's very dangerous, especially with binoculars or a telescope, and could result in permanent damage to your eye. Anyway, enjoy your planet hunting tonight. That's it from me today, Howie.
Eric, thank you very much. And Eric will be back tomorrow with another look at the Orkney sky for absolute beginners, when he'll be talking about the ash of Yggdrasil. But now it's time to join the lunchtime tables at the Peedie Kirk. And if you click on the link on the web page or the YouTube live chat, you can sit round a table and meet today's speakers and other festival goers from near and far. So off we go, and goodbye for now.